missed classes, I missed my exams. He actually also did not think I would make it. When the test was done, she at first didn't believe it. She thought, no, it must be a mistake, and she repeated the test. The liver seems like it's not functioning at all. It seems as if it's already dead. I started getting sick in 2011 while I was still in campus, and it was a tough time trying to juggle between my education and my health. And I think the time that I remember the most, the year that I'll never forget, was 2012, because to me that was the longest year I think I had to go through, because that year I missed classes, I missed my exams, I did not know what was going on, and I was just getting worse. My brother at that time was also doing his KCSE, and I remember at one point, once I was feeling better, he told me that he actually also did not think I would make it out of 2012, because every time my dad would go for visiting, he was always scared. He thought he's come to be told the news. But then in 2013, the disease that I was suffering from was discovered, but at that time they didn't know the extent to which it had gone. In 2013, it was discovered that I was suffering from colitis, and when the doctor wanted to prescribe the medicines to me, she told me I had to do some liver tests, and when the test was done, my liver was not functioning as it's supposed to be. So there were just series of tests, withdrawal of medicine, because she at first thought it's my body reacting to something. Then when all the medicine had been withdrawn, the liver was still functioning very bad. And at that point she was saying, actually the word that I remember she used at that time, she said the liver seems like it's not functioning at all. It seems as if it's already dead. So that's when she started saying she knows of a condition that you'll get when you have colitis, which was primary sclerosing cholangitis. But she told me she really hopes I'm not suffering from that, because she said the only cure for that is a liver transplant. And I think that was the first time I had heard about a liver transplant in movies, but you don't just believe everything in movies. So I thought, how can a liver transplant be done? And that's when she told me, because she was based in the US, you can get it, but you need to go through a list and all that. So to me it seemed like it's something that can't be done. So after like about 2 months, she took samples and tested them in Kenya, and it was discovered I had that primary sclerosing cholangitis. And she at first didn't believe it. She thought, no, it must be a mistake, and she repeated the test. And she confirmed. She told me, now you have that disease, but I will give you about 10 years before you require transplant. So she told me the medication that I will take. Then fast forward, that was in 2013. 2014 I had no incidents. I had started recovering. Then 2015, that's when I had I think I almost collapsed in the house. Then I was taken to hospital, and she told me that my liver was now at its worst stages. But she told me probably I can go on for about a year or so. But come December 2015, I was so bad, and she told me, I don't think you can go beyond 2016. You really need that transplant. And that's when, at the beginning of 2016, I started trying to find a way to go to India for the transplant. Because when I asked around and asked how much it would be, the doctor who told me the cheapest amount told me it can't go below 6 million. And the highest it can go is around 8 million. And I didn't know where to get the money from. And that's where my journey to go to India and all that happened later, that's where it started.
I met him in India 3 days after I'd landed with my brother and my family. And I went to visit him to see how he was doing post-transplants. And yeah, that's when I met him.
Up to now?
No, at that time it didn't hit my mind. I definitely had not gone to India with a mind looking for love or anything of the sort. But it so happened God had other plans.
And she was so much against it, and actually she found it awkward. But then, I think some things you just can't control, because we had talked for a while. Before she came to India, we had talked for almost close to a month, right? Around, I think it was almost a month. We had been talking, and at the moment she didn't realize it, but while I was talking to her, cause when I first talked to her, it was actually, I think it was the same day that I was discharged from hospital. That's when I talked to her for the first time, and I was all alone in India, and it gets boring. And then there was this person who was keeping me entertained and making it seem more lively, and I looked forward to meeting her. So when she told me they were coming, I was actually anxiously waiting for the day they'd come. They came like 3 days later, and I was like, why didn't you just come the same day? Yeah, so I had to be strong while I'm talking to her, and she would ask a lot about the pain that you go through and how is it after that, and such things. And to me it seemed like she was scared, but she later told me she wasn't scared, she was just concerned, which I still don't think I believe today.
I was asking for my brother's sake. I wanted to know, because I was using him as a benchmark. So I wanted to know how he's feeling, so that I can know 1 week from now how will my brother feel, 2 weeks from now how will he be. That's that was the purpose.
Yeah, and you know, I tried to avoid mentioning anything about pain. So whenever she asked me, do you feel any pain, I tell her, no, I'm not feeling anything, nothing at all. I'm just feeling lazy and weak and such words. So she asked me, how about the cut? Do you feel anything? And I will tell her, even if I touch that place, I'm not feeling anything. It's numb, completely numb. But you see, you're not feeling pain at the cut, but there are other parts of your body that are feeling pain. Because I think when I woke up from the surgery, I was so sure the only part of my body was working was the brain, nothing else. I tried moving my hands, they wouldn't move. My legs wouldn't move. I had pipes all over, and I couldn't see. Because I tried looking at anything, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't feel anything. So the only thing was I could hear someone talk, but I couldn't respond. Because I think for me, the doctor told me I stayed in the ICU for 9 days. And he told me for 5 out of those 9 days, my liver wasn't working. So he was a bit scared at that moment. And at that time, it was just a feeling of you can't sleep. You go to sleep, you have nightmares. When I wake up, I'm having hallucinations. So I don't even know what is reality, what is fake, all that. And when I talked to the doctor, I talked to him 12 hours later. I think like we had just talked 5 minutes ago. All those mixed feelings. And it wasn't interesting. So I spared her all those details. When I had been discharged from hospital, the doctors, not just the doctors, even my dad was the attendant and my mom was the donor. My dad will try to get me out of bed, and it wasn't easy because I didn't feel like I wanted to move out of bed. I'm in bed, I'm already tired from sleeping, but I don't feel like I want to get out of the bed. But how when she talks to me and she wants to really know whether I'm strong, you see I have to prove that I'm strong. So I will get out, I will push myself. So she gave me that small push to do things that I wasn't able to do. And that's why it now started becoming interesting, because now I started feeling I had to do things to prove to her that I'm okay. And as I'm proving to her that I'm okay, I get better with time. And when they came to visit, I had to actually leave the bed, go outside, walk around with them, just to prove to them that I'm strong enough. Though it took a lot, but that's where now I was drawing the strength from. And it was quite helpful. First I heard of Saraha. I had seen people writing, I didn't know about it, but I heard it from her. She's the one who told me about it. And since she knew, I had quite many people follow what I've been up to since after the surgery on Facebook, and she told me maybe you should try and join and see what sort of questions people would ask you. So I joined. The first day, I think most people will just tell me, I really like your stories, the stories that you've been sharing. And others will say, you're really encouraging. And others will talk about their health and what they've been going through. And I'll just answer them, because mostly you just answer it through Facebook or Instagram. And that's when 3, 4, 5 people started asking about Truth and how we met. They started asking whether we met in India, whether we knew each other before I went to India. And so the first time I narrated just a short story of how we met, and then I thought of narrating the whole of it and just stopping it there. But then I narrated it, and then when I got halfway, I think I just felt it's too long, so I stopped it at that.
Yeah.
And then when I stopped it at that, someone asked me, where is part 2 of the story? and I think
You went on?
yeah, I went on to part 3. I went on to part 2, part 3, part 4, and I stopped at part 4. I didn't go to part 5.
I've never had such thoughts because you see, I have a brother who has the same illness. So, and to me, my brother, he's normal, he's healthy. That's what my life is about. So, dating someone with a chronic condition does not really strike me as odd. It's very normal.
Mostly, it's sort of like a, is it called a symbiosis relationship?
Yeah.
It's like symbiosis. Whenever I discover something, like I discover something about insurance, I share with not only her or the brother, I also share with the parents and tell them I've learned about this and that. And we come together because sometimes you find the medicines we're using and the care that we need is not available in Kenya. So we need a lot of times we need to consult from India. And they might have a medical question that they can't post to any doctor in Kenya, and they need to post to a doctor in India. Then their doctor might take long to reply, and they need the answer there and then, and they will just call me and tell me, you see, we want to ask about this. And the same thing happens to me. Whenever we want to get medicines, we come together, we decide we'll get this amount of medicine, it will cost this much. So you bring your share and then they bring in their share. And if they have more money, they bring in, and whenever I have the money, we can balance it off like that. And when I have more medicine, such, because it's really expensive, and you can't get medicine on a monthly basis because it will now even be much more expensive. Because once you are sending the medicine from India, I think you're charged a minimum of 5,000. I recently started working at a tech company, and the people there are very warm and welcoming. And I'm also trying to do some other side, we call them side hustle.
Side hustle.
Yeah, some side hustle here and there. And we're also trying to do some things that can help other people who are going through similar conditions, and trying just to see how we can just help out, because like for me, I really benefited from the society because we really didn't have much. I think even if we sold everything we had, we couldn't raise that 8 million. So I feel indebted to the people who helped me, and so whenever I can, I help them out. It always gets to that part, but you see, the tricky part about it is they want to know when you'll propose, and they also want it to be a surprise. So you see, one has to
So it's a dilemma.
Yeah. So what should it be? Should it be a surprise, or should I just say I'm going to propose on this day?
I guess you should ask her so that she knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the dilemma that we are in.